So, today I want to talk about reconnecting with ourselves. The reason I want to talk about this is I feel like there is a massive disconnect right now with people, with who they really think they are and who they really want to be. Because who am I to tell you, you know, how to reconnect with yourself? Well, I'm just someone who is genuinely interested in your success. In this world of distraction and intoxication and overindulgent, it's becoming harder and harder to reconnect with our righteous self. I don't want to say higher self because that's too fucking cheesy. Our righteous self. And what I mean by the righteous self is the version of yourself that is doing the right things. The person inside of you that is making all the right moves, that is super productive, that is just on fire. Everything you touch just turns to gold, and you're witty and you're clever and you feel good and money is coming your way and all your problems, are somebody else's problems. They're not. So how do we get reconnected back to that version of ourselves? That classy, take no shit, kicking ass person that's inside all of us. Well, I'd like to first introduce you to a concept that I've been really figuring out for a long time now, and I've recently been listening to a lot of other. It's just a theory, but it has legs. I'll say that. So my theory is that we're always expanding, right, and contracting. We're like waves. Our life, our energy, it's always flowing. We're always having these big movements of waves going out and then coming back, right? So sometimes we go way too far out. Our energy is just huge and we expand, but then we start to get our frequency gets weak, and then we have to come back and we contract back inside. And this happens with all sorts of areas of our lives. I talked about this before in the upper limit problem, where you get something so big and then you self-sabotage, right? I think that's how it goes, because we expand so big that we just touched everything, we're doing great, and then we start to get a weak aura around us or something, and shit goes wrong, or we self-sabotage, and then we constrict our lives and we get also back in touch with ourselves, and then we can even go too far inside and we lose touch with the outside world. So we're always in this constant flux of being either too far expanded or too far inside, and we're always somewhere in the middle. I think in order for us to reconnect with our best selves is to understand where we are in that process. Sometimes we need to have those moments where we, are all by ourselves, and we need to not expand, but we need to contract inside of ourselves and read a good book or listen to our favorite music and just have some me time. And then we also have those moments where we have to freaking just go outside and talk to people and live our life and have that energy and be vibrant. There's many phases of ourselves. We're complex people. We have interesting emotions, interesting powers or whatever. So in order for us to reconnect with ourselves, we have to first figure out what we're reconnecting with, right? So I've already talked about this before, but there's four pillars of life, I'd say, of ourselves. There's our mind, our body, our life energy, and then there's the field. The field is just everything around us. So first, let's talk about reconnecting with our mind and body, because those are the easiest to explain and to do. So in our lives right now, we drink soda, alcohol, drugs, we eat garbage food, so it's very, very, I don't want to say easy, but it's very likely that there's going to be moments where we are disconnected from our body. And that's like a weird thing to say, but we know that it's happening constantly. We just have those moments where we're like, oh shit, now I'm sick, something feels weird. We don't know how. I drink coffee every day. I try and quit, but that's one of those things that definitely disconnects us from our body, because it spikes up our adrenaline, and wakes us up. So our whole nervous system is like in panic mode, and that's why we're awake when we drink coffee. That's very disconnected from the way that we really feel if we didn't have any caffeine, if we didn't have anything like that. First step to reconnecting with ourselves, I don't want anybody to fast because of me. To just take a few days where we only eat good food or we don't eat any food at all can really reconnect us with our bodies. Okay, because it takes so much work for our mind and our body, just digesting our food and just doing the things that it never really gets the adequate time to recharge, to take a nap and to reset. So when you fast or you just eat really good food for a while, you're going to start feeling a lot better. You're going to be able to reconnect with your body. You're going to feel more energy, feel more power. And I think this is one of the best ways. The other way for your body is exercise. I mean, if you run, and if you haven't ran in a long time, you're going to feel alive afterwards, or you're going to probably be sore or something. Just getting your blood flowing and getting reconnected with the way that your whole body feels by just moving your whole body in an action, in a movement, is going to be very beneficial for you trying to reconnect. Or without extreme exercise, just going for a walk. I really love reading about Einstein and how one of his favorite things and his favorite times to think was on these long, slow walks where he would just walk and ponder quantum physics in space, And he said he would have his best ideas either when he was walking or when he was asleep. It's like when we're the most relaxed, our mind can be open up to answer the questions that we have. And that brings me to kind of another point where whenever we have a problem and we start to try and find the answer, it's important that we can reconnect with ourselves so that we can go forward to find the answer with our whole body present, in the now, in the present, in the moment of who we are and what we're doing. I really think for our body and everything else to become reconnected, it's important to do exercise, eat really good, and get lots of sleep, and fucking take it easy sometimes. You got to reset, you got to recharge, you got to come back after going all out with your body. Your body needs that recovery time. It needs to have those moments of peace where everything is easy. So now we're going to talk about reconnecting with our mind. Our mind is a gray ball of fat. And it runs everything in our world, For our mind, again, if you fast or if you eat really good food, you're going to see how much clearer you can think, how much more impact and you can have using your body and your powerhouse of a brain if it isn't using all the calories to just digest food. I think that's number one, is if you have issues in your gut, your brain is going to be the one that really suffers. That's why so many people walk around in a fog and they don't feel good and they don't know why they can't think. It's because their gut is fucked up. You need to get your probiotics and microbiomes going in your gut so that your brain can work. Beyond that, in order for us to reconnect with our mind, we are always expanding and contracting, I feel like, in our mind. Well, I hope you're expanding your mind. I hope you're reading. I hope you're learning. You gotta learn like your life depended on it, because it does. We should always be expanding. But at some point, I've come to realize that I can just break my brain. I am someone who is always researching, always learning. I said it before, I'm like a groundhog. When I get a topic that I'm interested in, man, I just dig and dig and dig and dig. And I found a limit. I thought there was no limits to my learning capabilities, but sometimes I learned so much on a subject that I just burn myself out and I just can't even look at it ever again. Not ever again, but for a little while. And for those moments, it's important to find a way to casually use your mind in something that you enjoy. What I used to do is I would read these super thick philosophy books that were just like really cool, but just like mind-numbing, freaking blah 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 all day. So I'd read one and then I couldn't read the next one. So what I would do is I would just read comic books. It was like a happy medium because I wasn't totally quitting reading. I was still reading comic books. As I would read the comic books, I would enjoy reading again. And it would be invigorating. And then I'd get bored with the comic books and I'd be able to go back to the thick literature or whatever that I had to learn. So I think we have to do that. Like a little bit of video games, never killed nobody, a little bit of just playing, music or something like that. Something that still involves your brain but doesn't make it overwork. Not watching TV, because when we watch TV, we're firing our mirror neurons and we're not doing anything. We're not getting anywhere. You have to be doing something that's going to be productive, or at least fun, or at least engaging for yourself. Be sure to plug in and then figure out how to unplug so that your brain can still be working, but it can be taking it easy in a way, but still enjoying. You need that reward after you work your brain real hard. That whatever it is for you, I don't know, write poetry or do a coloring book or whatever the heck. Something that you can use your brain and you enjoy doing. And then when you're totally burnt out, just go to sleep. Or do whatever you want. But we're trying to figure out how to reconnect with our brain. And instead of just completely turning your brain off, it's important to have your brain going, but like I'll call it in like shower mode, right? Where you're not really thinking about anything, but you're just letting the thoughts flow and you're letting it go. Another way that you can really connect back with your mind is to practice being in the present moment. Practice meditation. Yes, meditation. I love meditating. I don't think people out there really understand how to do it the right way. Well, there's no right way. I apologize. But if you do it twice a day, it can completely change your life. See, when you meditate, you are giving yourself that pause, right? You're able to let go of all the baggage that you carry around in your life, right? All the hats you wear, all the emotions, the judgments you have. If you could just tell your brain to just shut the fuck up for like 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes at night, you have no idea how refreshing it can be to come back to your life, to the fight, with a new mind and a fresh perspective on things. You focus on your mantra and your breathing, and you let your thoughts just float through your head like clouds. You do not engage with your thoughts, but you just watch them as they pass by in your mind when you meditate. And when you do this, when you transcend to that next level where you're just kind of like you're in your own little world, right? Whatever it is for you, you're able to shed all the baggage that you're carrying. And if you can do that for any amount of time, it's going to allow you to come back from that with a new perspective, new energy. We don't realize how weighed down we are by just being a freaking human being in the modern age. We carry around these like bags of shit with us. We're like those weird like third world country people that just like have chickens and like big green duffel bags on our head that we walk up mountains with. It's just normal now to have this much baggage and have these many, strange thoughts and perspectives in our mind. And if we can learn to meditate and disconnect from those, even if it's just for short periods of time or just to go to sleep at night, it can be incredibly, incredibly important way for you to be able to reconnect with yourself. So if you don't know how to meditate, Google it, YouTube it. I'll talk a lot more about meditation. I actually just started a website called enlightenmentnerd.com. There's nothing there yet, but it's going to be pretty cool. That is how we can reconnect with our mind. Now, how can we reconnect with our life energy? Life energy, it's that extra oomph that we have. It's that extra bit of luck that can happen for us when we're on the right path. And I think for us to have as much life energy as possible, we have to first be in line with what we're doing. or at least have that grit, that hunger to accomplish something. We have to be able to tune in to that energy to pull things and will things into this world. In order for us to reconnect with our life energy, first of all, we gotta rest. We have to recover. Rest is the best antidote. So sleep is, according to like the generals in the military, sleep is an asset. It is 100% necessary to win the battle. And I totally agree. But it's not necessarily where all of our life energy, because I mean, I've gone to work super tired and hungover, and I've just pulled some magic, out the back because I had that life energy to make something happen, to will things into reality. And in order for us to have that, we have to, first of all, know what we're made of. Like when I was little, I definitely push the boundaries on the amount of chaos that I could cause in this world. That was my shit. From like 13 to 18, I just made my whole life a giant dumpster fire. And I really pushed that. And then after that, I joined the military and worked in the oil field. And when I was in those works, I learned really what I was made of as well. I realized that I can push myself and push myself and push myself. And then as soon as I even think I'm dead, I can actually still go even further than that. So you have to understand that, and it's all a mind game. It's all mind fuck. That if we really want something in this life, that we can pull it out of our ass and we can will it into being. Some things you can will into being a lot easier than others. So in order for us to harness this life energy, we have to, first of all, crystallize what we want in our mind's eye. This means you can smell it, taste it, hold it in your imagination, and then you just have to go for it. This is another one of those scenarios where people tell us, oh, you can't do it, so you think you can't. But if you just tell people to fuck off and you just do it and you don't let anybody stop you, you can just about conquer the world and have anything you want. There's this story of these two kids that were out playing on a lake, and one of the kids ends up falling through the ice, and it's just them out on this Arctic tundra. And the other kid that didn't fall through the ice runs and grabs a stick, and he breaks through the ice, and he rescues his friend just in time. These were little kids. And then the police get there, and the parents get there, and one of the people says, oh my God, how could this little boy break through the ice that was like 3 feet thick and save his friend? And the police officer said, because no one was here to tell him he couldn't. That's the truth. So don't let anybody tell you that you can't do something. Use that life energy because it's important. Use it for your true self to will what you truly want in this life to happen for you. All right, and then now we're going to talk about reconnecting with the field. The field is the hardest part because it's dealing with other people, right? We have to know how we're going to present ourselves in public and how we're going to see ourselves. If we want to reconnect with ourselves in the field, I recommend you look at yourself in the mirror. Make sure you give yourself some love, one of those little handsome person winks or whatever, sexy beast. And ask yourself, how do you want to be perceived? Because we're all just playing roles. We're all just actors in this game called life. And we can really be anyone we want. When we start to realize that we can be whoever we want, we can act however we want, we can do whatever we want, then it's just all about coming up with the best blueprint for our lives, the happiest we can possibly be. When we think about our lives, we have certain areas in our lives that we're happy with. There has to be at least one thing you're relatively happy with in your life. And when I ask people this, they say, okay, well, whatever, I'm pretty happy with my body, I'm pretty happy with my relationship, I'm happy with my career. And then I ask them, okay, so why are you happy in that particular area of your life? And it almost always is because their blueprint for that area of their life, like their fitness, right? Their blueprint to be in good shape is to have lots of energy, have like a six-pack, and go to the gym every day. And when they check those boxes, they're happy in that area of their life because it matches up with their blueprint. It matches up with their ideal part of their life. And then if they have to ask themselves, okay, well, this makes me happy. What areas of your life are you unhappy with? You can say, well, I'm getting a little old. I don't have any money saved up, and it just drives me completely nuts, and I don't know what to do about it. And you can say, okay, well, that's because the blueprint in your mind is you're supposed to have this number in your bank account, and you don't. So you have to figure out how you can adjust your life to either be happy with absolutely no money or be happy learning a new skill so that that money can be there for you. And it's not just about money. It's about every aspect of our lives. There's certain areas where we're just unhappy because what's happening isn't matching up with our blueprint, right? So then when you need that formula for happiness, when you need that extra oomph so that we can reconnect and be happy to get going, we have to reconstruct our blueprint. Whether we can just say, okay, well, if I can wake up today and eat a bowl of cereal, I'm going to say that is an accomplishment that I can be happy about. And then you take these little wins and you get bigger and bigger. To be happy, we have to understand that we're making up these rules. We can be happy at any moment. We can be happy with ourselves, with our life, if we can just see it in a new light. If we can rearrange the blueprint, if we can say that everything is okay right now, nothing is that fucking bad. I can be happy even in the worst scenarios. And you can say, I'm going to be a happy person no matter what. This is my new blueprint for life. And we can start to reconnect with ourselves in a happier way. Reconnect with the inner child that can play. You know, we think kids are just so happy because they're kids. No, they're so freaking happy because nobody's screwed that up for them yet. Everything is a miracle. It still is for us, but we're just growing this shell over ourselves, a callus to the joy and the fun that we can have in our lives. When we're trying to bring it back now to reconnecting with ourselves, the best ways that we can really connect with ourselves are journaling. Wake up in the morning, write down some key things that you're thinking about. Just write them down. Just throw spaghetti at the wall, meaning just say whatever is on your mind. Don't hold any judgment back and just let it all out. Another way is to fast and not eat any food for just 24 hours. If you can't do that, then just see how you feel. You don't have to do anything. But doing this will allow your body to, detox some chemicals. It might be very, very uncomfortable for a lot of people, especially if you're trying to quit coffee and you quit drinking coffee, you're going to be a dick and you're going to have a headache. Or you quit trying to drink alcohol, you quit trying to smoke cigarettes. Just do a small thing to re-see what your body is really going. This isn't like a thing to punish yourself. This is a thing to just be able to take that step back and look at your body and be like, oh man, well, when we don't do that little tiny thing that's keeping us alive every day, our body is shriveled and it sucks. You need to reconnect with your purest self. I mean, imagine that. Imagine if you just got all the toxins out of your body. Don't you think you'll be more connected to your higher self? To yourself? You're going to be able to see where you are in life. You're going to be able to see, where your body is standing. What's aching? What hurts? Do you need a massage? Maybe you need to take a week off from work. But we're so disconnected from our body that we just don't know. The other thing is I would highly recommend doing yoga. It's not just about being flexible. We're always expanding and contracting. Our body is all connected by our nervous system, right? We're just a big old brain, a nervous system, and a meat sack. But when we do yoga, we're able to reconnect our whole nervous system in the right, proper alignment. So if our body is realigned with itself, right? And we're flexible, we're not tight and tense. We're going to be able to think a lot better. If we're always expanding and contracting, and let's just pretend like we're an antenna, right? And our thoughts come from somewhere else or whatever. If we're able to be in tune with the righteous thoughts, the ones that are going to take us to that next level or solve our problems or give us insight in things that we are hoping and wishing for, then we might as well take every advantage we possibly can get. So I recommend everybody does yoga, you meditate, you write journals, and you go for walks. and you eat really, really good just to take care of yourself. Give yourself some self-love. A pat on the back for all the hard work you've done. You've survived this long. If everything is totally shit, well, then just give yourself a pat on the back that you're going to try and make the next rest of your life a little less shitty. If we really want to connect with ourselves, we have to take inventory. Whenever you walk into a new house and you have an inspector, you got to take inventory of what's going on in there. What are your gifts? What are your faults? I know in the last episode I talked about knowing yourself, and I said it's all about just knowing who you're going to be. But it's also important to know what are your natural gifts. What is easy for you? There should be things that are much easier for you than other people. And you should be able to take those to that next level if you just were able to focus a little bit on them and give them the room they need to breathe, space they need to flourish. If you water the plants that you love, those plants are going to grow bigger. I think there's some Indian proverb, but there's always a good wolf and an angry wolf inside of us. You ask the chief, oh yeah, well, which wolf gets bigger? Or they're always fighting inside of us. Which wolf wins? And he says, whichever one you feed. Always try and be feeding your best self, your righteous self, the self that's going to keep going and keep you strong. Take time to figure yourself out, to come up with your happiness blueprint, to come up with a roadmap that is going to take you to that next level of success so that you can be the best version of yourself and so that you can be as happy as humanly possible. So that is my spiel on reconnecting with yourself. Don't die from fasting or some stupid shit from listening to me, but I'm telling you, it works. It's crazy. There's also something called dopamine fasting I'm going to be looking into, but I really think it's important in this weird life to come back. We all get lost sometimes. We all go a little bit skewed. It's important to figure out how to come back from those. Sometimes we have to get lost. I do. Sometimes I just need to get drunk. And of course, I suffer the consequences, and I'll always try and always be my best self. But sometimes shit happens. You need to let off some steam. When you come back, and you know how to come back with clarity and purpose, it can really make or break your life. Because sometimes, like I said, you need to blow off steam. You need to go have fun. You need to go do some wild and crazy shit. And then it's important, though, when it's time to, put on your game face and step back into the arena of your life and you need to conquer. It's important to know how to reconnect with yourself and figure out exactly who you really are and who you want to become and what you want your legacy to be so that you can always be striving, always be moving forward on that. Take no shit, hold no prisoners, hold nothing back. That is today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Next episode, I think we're going to be talking about success. I've got some really cool stuff. I think I figured out a formula for anyone to have massive success. And it's going to be really engaging, and I hope you're going to enjoy it a lot. And following that, I will be telling you my new secret skills of YouTube and podcasting. So make sure you tune in, and I hope you guys have the best day and the best life possible. Namaste.